Thank you for tuning in to the Wealthy Optimist podcast. I'm your host, Sarah Hall. For the past several years, I've been a practicing mindset and personal development coach, guiding people of all ages to their empowerment and systematically teaching how to restructure your thinking patterns through my simple, practical methods and exercises I developed in my book, Positive Power: 12 Steps to Mastering Your Mindset. I have a 12-week program that takes you through the 12 steps and helps you break free and create the amazing, positive, and abundant life that you deserve. The link is in the description for both my book and my program and can be found at www.wealthyoptimist.com. In this podcast, we go deep into self-empowerment, conscious growth, and breaking free from emotionally painful traumatic experiences. You will learn how to allow yourself to let go of hurtful past events and shift your energy to a positive wavelength. Think of this as your weekly dose of inner power and personal growth. We will explore emotional intelligence, conscious evolution, psychology, and relationships both with ourselves and with others. Let love be your center. Learn to embrace love, to give love, and to express gratitude freely. This is the power you have within yourself, and I'm here to help you unleash it. Now, let's dive into today's episode. Good morning, and thank you for tuning in. This is Sarah Hall, the Wealthy Optimist. I am so excited for you to join me here. It is Monday morning. We are bright and early, and what is it called? Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed this morning. Quite literally, I am dressed in my running clothes. For those of you who can't see me on YouTube in the video. And this morning was hard to get up. It was hard to get up, and I made my last podcast that talked about consistency and creating consistent habits. And if you didn't have a chance to listen to that one, please do go back and check that one out on Apple Podcasts or on my YouTube channel. And you can hear a little bit more in detail about how I'm creating these consistent habits for myself, both in my work and in my everyday life. I've been creating a consistent writing habit, and I've also been creating a consistent podcast filming routine, because this was something I was putting off for many, many, many years. So I am very excited today to talk to you guys about saying no and how saying no can change your life. So if that's something that you're interested in, then let's dive right into it and get started, because one of the hardest things to do in life is to say no. Honestly, we need to start being ruthless towards things that don't matter in our lives, because when we give our time and our energy to people or things that we don't want to do, we are really disrespecting ourselves. We are turning a blind eye on what makes us happy, and we're overextending ourselves. And this is a muscle that you really need to learn how to flex. To start saying no is never easy, but the power behind saying no is incredibly freeing, and it can be absolutely life-changing in the sense that it's limitless. When you begin to say no to people or say no to events or things that you don't want to do, and you start saying yes to the things that you do want to do and the things that make you happy, you're going to start to free up this energetic space for yourself. And if you've never tried this before, if you're like a yes person, there's this movie with Jim Carrey, Yes Man, and he does it to get out of his, I'll give you a little context of the movie, but he does it to get out of his comfort zone. So the context of the movie is that he's just gone through a divorce, he's very depressed, he is, become very introverted and closed off. He's stopped hanging out with his friends. He's, stuck in the same job, and he's depressed at it. And it's like this vicious cycle. And, people want him to get back into, saying yes. So he goes to this kind of very, cult-like self-help guru guy, very Tony Robbins-esque. And it's all about like saying yes to everything. and it's funny that I'm making the podcast about completely the opposite, more like saying no to everything, but not to everything. But so what happens is he says yes to everything, and he goes on this wild ride, and all this crazy stuff happens, and then it starts to kind of blow up in his face because you can't say yes to everything, you know what I mean? And he even said yes to some things where he's like, oh, this doesn't feel right for me, And although that's a really great experiment to get out of your comfort zone, you want to, there's a fine balance, right? So I'm a Libra. I'm like the scales of justice, right? The scales of balance. And for me, there's a fine balance between saying yes to things that truly excite me, though, things that light me up, things that make me want to, be excited for them, and then saying no to things that don't light me up. And if you're not careful, then committing to these fake yeses, if you commit to these things that you didn't really want to do from the get-go, you're going to do some lasting damage because you're going to waste that time that you could have been doing something much more productive for yourself and feel more beneficial. So there's a lot of emotions that can come with when you say yes to something that you don't want to do. You can feel angry, you can feel frustrated or trapped or distracted. You can feel a bunch of different things because you are, as I said earlier, disrespecting yourself. And you begin almost dying inside a little bit, and that might sound a bit dramatic, but when you're not being true to yourself and you're not respecting your own time and you're constantly giving and giving and giving and not giving to yourself, then you're not going to be fully living. And I hope that can resonate with some of you, but it can be all consuming, and you can feel very busy when you're saying yes to everything. And busyness, we have this fascination in our current, generation or just life in general, where people relate being busy with being successful. You don't have to be busy to be successful. You can be incredibly successful with time management, and time leverage and doing things properly by setting a designated time to get something done, as opposed to constantly being busy and running around and doing this and doing that and, attending this event and that event. And, I have spoken on this a little bit before, but in the past I've had, even friendships that I kept saying yes to, or different events that I was attending that I really didn't want to go, even from the time I said yes, So I would say, say somebody invited me to something and it was 2 weeks away, and I actually knew at the moment that they asked me that I didn't want to go. And yet I said yes, or I said, let me check my diary and get back to you, when I should have just honored myself and said no. And if they would have said, why? I don't feel like going, or that's not for me. Or you can say politely, you can say no, thank you, or it's just not my cup of tea, or I just can't right now, I'm busy focusing on, my own goals. And saying no can hurt a lot of people's feelings, but in the long run, you're going to hurt yourself more than anybody if you keep saying yes to things that you don't want to do. And that is just the crux of it. So if you find yourself in this loop where you are feeling overextended, where you're feeling exhausted, where you're feeling tired, where you're feeling drained, and you're feeling that you're not being productive for yourself, see if you're saying yes to a lot of things that you should be saying no to. I mean, just have a look at it. Just have a look at what you're doing, what your day-to-day life looks like. And this can also be something as simple as not even to other people, but saying no to certain activities that you're doing for yourself on a daily basis. Like if you're constantly on your phone and you are constantly going back into, a specific app or something. For me lately, it's been TikTok. I made a TikTok account, by the way, as a sidebar here. Go follow me. There are a couple of fitness ones and some very funny and delicious food recipes. So my TikTok is Wealthy Optimist. And it's hilarious trying to make TikToks. I was anti-TikTok for a very long time, but now I can't get enough of it. But unfortunately, I'm using it too much. So I'm using it as my point right now to show you guys that nobody's perfect, and I have been spending some mindless hours. I'm not going to under-exaggerate it. That's hours of time on TikTok. But you have to rein it in. You have to start saying no. And turning it off or setting a time limit on your app, because if you're finding yourself not achieving your goals, like where is that time going? And you need to assess this. Like, are you doing too much for other people? Are you doing too much nonsense during the day that's for yourself, and then you're like claiming it, as I tend to do, because guilty, gotta call myself out before I call anybody else out, is that I will tend to be like, oh, well, I just need a distraction right now. I just want to relax. And so I'll watch some TikToks or watch some YouTube videos or watch some Netflix, and then give myself like, I deserve to relax, or this is helping me with my anxiety. You know what would help even more with my anxiety is getting off the couch and going for a run, going for a workout, and then sitting down and doing some work towards my goals. That's what really would overcome the anxiety, because I'm thinking in the long term then, instead of thinking in the short term. The short term, the brain it thinks it's protecting us, but it's really sabotaging us. So in the short term, we're thinking like, oh yeah, this is fine. It's just a few hours of distraction, but in the long term, those few hours, you probably could have got enough done to get you so much closer to your goal than had you spent those few hours just watching Netflix or scrolling on TikTok or whatever your, guilty pleasure is. So really take some time this week, assess where your time is going, where you're spending it on, what you're saying yes to when you really should be saying no, whether it's saying no to things that you're doing yourself, or whether it's saying no to extending yourself to other people when you should be focusing that energy on your own goals. Because in the end, I say this all the time, the only thing that we have control over is our mind, and nobody is going to do it for you. Nobody's coming to save you. Nobody's coming to rescue you. If you can't find a way to achieve your goals and to change your mindset and to transform your habits from unhealthy ones to healthy ones, then you're going to be in the same spot that you always were. And it's a hard truth. Nobody wants to hear it. People want to make excuses for themselves, but this is your Monday morning wake-up call, and it's time to stop excusing our bad behaviors, because that's what they are. They're bad behaviors. And it's time to start saying no to things that don't serve us and start saying yes to things that do. So on that note, it's still really early. I'm going to go for a run because I really don't feel like it. I took the weekend off. And if I don't go right now, I might put it off. So this is me saying no to putting it off and saying yes to getting my butt in to my shoes and going straight out the door so I can go for my 5K first thing this morning. I love you guys. I would love to have some conversations with you, both on my YouTube channel, in the comments sections, in the review sections, about what you're working on saying no to, how you're flexing your no muscles, and just anything that you took away from this would be great to share. We also have our online Facebook community group, which is called Wealthy Optimist Mindset Group. I would love and be honored for you to join our community there, and I'm really looking forward to chatting more with you guys. And I hope that you have a wonderful, wonderful week full of yes to things that serve you and no to things that don't. Lots of love. Bye, guys. All right, everybody, that's all I have for you today. I am so grateful for you to be able to take this time for yourself, that you chose to make the conscious decision to be here today, to listen to this, to share this message with somebody else who could value from it. I really appreciate your reviews, your positive reviews, and sharing with the community what you valued out of this lesson today. If you can think of somebody who really needs to hear this message, please share it with them. There is nothing better for me than receiving a podcast or a video or a positive message from somebody that I love that totally changes my outlook on the day. So please pass this on forward to other people. And don't forget to come over to my website, www.wealthyoptimist.com, so that you can connect with me and dive into your transformational journey with our 12-week program. Completely breaking free from your past traumas, from your past mistakes, from your past negative energies, and just being able to release all of that and move forwards in our 12-step program that's accompanied by my book, Positive Power, the 12 Steps to Mastering Your Mindset. And I really look forward to having you join as part of our community. Thank you so much for taking the time today to do this for you. I am sending you all the love for a beautiful, wonderful day that you have ahead of you, or a wonderful sleep if you're listening to this in the evening. Until next time.